Since it's Miss Universe seasons, guys, I decided I would share today something very special about my participation at Miss Universe, and this is my official Miss Universe gown.
Ladies!
Katie had trouble deciding between 3 gowns for tonight. I think she made a great choice.
Why did I choose this gown and what were my other options? So that's what's coming up. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Raquel Pellissier. I am a former Miss Universe contestant and finalist, and also the author of the pageant guide, The Art of Being Your Beautiful Self. If you're new to this channel, stop what you're doing right now and click on the subscribe button. I have tons of interesting content I will be posting on this channel, and you do not want to miss this. When I competed at Miss Universe, I had to choose between 3 potential gowns for the final. I think it's very important to have backup options. Like, what if a contestant decides to rip your dress? Like, this is a competition. These type of things can happen. When I competed, nothing major happens. The girls were very nice overall, but I did have a little issue with my shoes being misplaced around the dressing room before the show. And I wasn't even competing with a strong sash. So just imagine the ones that are competing under the spotlight. So I'll just leave that there. But you can also be dressing up pretty quickly for the show and your dress rips. So you basically need a backup dress. This is where it might get complicated because there's only one you, there's only one show airing on TV, but you might have different gown sponsors, and some of them might not be really happy if you don't get to wear their design. This is a type of pressure for the contestant. Personally, I loved all my gowns. I had a gown being custom made for me for the final. I just hadn't seen it until like 5 days before going to Miss Universe. So I had no idea if I was gonna like the gown, if I was gonna be comfortable walking in it. I had no idea of anything, basically. So this gown right here was one of my early options for the final. This is a beautiful gown from Dominican designer Janina Azar. I've walked for her before at Dior Fashion Week, and I was just blown away by her designs. When I eventually got to see my final gown, I knew I would use this dress for my first ever appearance during the competition. So I ended up using it at the welcoming gala. So 2 things about the dress, even though I was in love with it, it wasn't made with my measurement, so it was a bit short for me. I had to use like my shortest heels when I was wearing it. And for the gala, for the final, I wanted to use my tallest Chinese laundry heels. And the second thing is that it's stones, so it's a heavy dress, and I knew I would have more energy to wear it at the beginning of the competition rather than at the end when I would be drained after 3 weeks of competing. Now I will share my backup dress for the final. Like, if anything had happened to my dress, this is the dress I would most likely be wearing for the final. And this is a beautiful gown from McDougal. When I heard McDougal was sponsoring me, I was in New York and I literally flew in and out of Chicago for like 10 hours. I spent the whole day trying on clothes, and I ended up leaving with a full luggage, which was, amazing. So a lot of the outfits I got to wear at Miss Universe were from McDougal, but I never got to wear this gown at any of the events. I only wore it at dress rehearsal, but 1 month later, I ended up wearing it at New York Fashion Week. Last but not least, my official gown for Miss Universe, made by Colombian designer Diego Fernando Marin. I was just in love with this dress. So Diego first noticed me when I was competing in my first international pageant in Bolivia. I had placed 3rd runner-up in that pageant, so that's when he wrote my director and told him he wanted to dress me for Miss Universe. So he actually flew from Colombia to meet me in Miami to take my measurements. And this is when he invited me to his country to train with an amazing team, the best of the best. So I didn't do all of my training in Colombia. I just went there for 5 intense days before going to Miss Universe. And this is when I got to try my dress for the first time. I was like, oh my God, is this even for real? I was like in awe. I was so in love with the dress. If you guys don't speak Spanish, what he's saying is that, do you see yourself being crowned in that dress? And I said yes. And he would say that all the time. Don't get me wrong, it's not all about the dress. When you're competing, you really want to convince the judges and the audience that you are the one. Whichever dress you feel will help you convey that message on stage should be the one that you wear. These were my official gown options for Miss Universe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing because I have tons of amazing content about Miss Universe 2019.